Our next subtitle is 1800s poetry. Like with literature, we see unique forms of American poetry beginning to develop during this time. It also follows those same two movements. There's a focus on nature and the individual, and a celebration in many ways of the self and of feeling. So, out of our examples, the two who really start to build this unique American style are Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson, even though those two poets are very different from each other. We saw a bit from them earlier this week. So Walt Whitman writes a variety of poems and in a variety of subjects and even in different styles. He focuses a lot on nature, but he uses what's called free verse. So he often does not use rhyme or meter. Of course, with O Captain, My Captain, we see that he uses both. But in the example that we're going to see in a few minutes, we see that he uses neither. So he does a lot of variety. He celebrates nature, celebrates the self and the feelings a lot. Emily Dickinson also began writing in the 1850s. She was very different, though, in that she was kind of a recluse. She pretty much stayed home and was not very well known outside of her home. She was a very private person. In fact, we're going to see a picture of her in a few slides. That is the only confirmed picture of Emily Dickinson as an adult. So we don't see a lot of her outside of her house. But she does start crafting that uniquely American style, and she plays around with punctuation and rhyme. She writes very, very differently than Whitman, though. Then we have Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He's raised in New England, and he becomes very popular with both the Americans and the English, both intellectuals and frontiersmen. So he becomes very well known in America as well, in the mid to late 1800s. And then, of course, there's Edgar Allan Poe. So Edgar Allan Poe is kind of an interesting guy. He's considered kind of a failure. He doesn't really figure out what he wants to do with his life for quite a while. He actually ends up dying in kind of a mystery. So you can look that up if you're interested. But he's kicked out of school. He doesn't hold any jobs, but he becomes a fantastic writer and kind of pioneers Gothic literature. So he uses these elements of mystery, fear, and dread to kind of develop this Gothic style. So he's one of the first that starts to do that, and especially inspires that in America. So we're going to look at a few examples here after this, one from Whitman and one from Poe, and some pictures as well. Of course, we have Longfellow here on the right-hand side of our slide.